Welcome to Tail Learn Code. Here there will be tales about software development, learning from each other, code to build solutions. And now your host, Chad Green.
All right, welcome. I should have let you know you've actually been you've been live with everyone on Twitch for the whole time, because like I said, we are going from one interview to the next. So so for everyone who's just joined us, welcome. So this is Russ Fustino. Like I was just mentioning, Russ has been around for a very long time. And one of the few people who's actually around my age. Sometimes I feel like I'm the old man around. But it's I tell you, every time I see Russ at a conference, I know I'm going to have a good time. Right?
All right, there you go.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun when Russ is around. So, Russ, just to start off with, just do a quick introduction of who you are.
Sure, Russ Fustino. I've been doing developer evangelism type roles for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
That actually started at Microsoft. I think that's where we first met. Perhaps, or it might have been Component One. One of these here.
I was talking about right before. I'm not sure if I met you when you were at Microsoft. I know we definitely had dealings when you were at Component One.
Yeah. So I was with Microsoft for about a dozen years and started with them in '97, and we didn't know who our developers were. If you can believe that at that point. And so that's when we started running events. Bob and Larry show, you get Russ's Tool Shed, all those events started coming through, and the developers started coming out of the woodworks, So proving they like to network and they like to learn, both. And that was really the staple going forward for all these developer events that have evolved since then. And of course, Chad, the most important thing is building the relationships as part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes a long way. So we really started the model for developer evangelism, as you know, today up in the New England district. And then a lot of the other districts started cloning that, idea and how we were doing things, because they were seeing the results we were getting and all the Visual Studio and MSDN sales going up, here in New England. So that was pretty good.
Yeah. I was going to say, so, 97, that basically be when you started seeing developer user groups, right? Before that, most of the user groups were more, IT hobby focused. But 97, that'd be around the time you started seeing the groups getting started. I know I was part of a .NET group that got started like right after .NET got announced. But obviously that was a little bit after 97. But and I know at that point I didn't start that group, someone else did, but I've been a part of groups for a couple of years at that point. Sure enough, a lot up in the New England area. I used to work for a company up in Burlington, Massachusetts, and so I would go there every week. And of course, Boston's a big Java town. I spent a lot of time at the Java or at the Sun campus. Actually, you'll enjoy this. I remember attending a session there, and they must have had like 300 people in that room, and it was a comparison of .NET to Java. And of course, this is when .NET was actually .NET wasn't even out yet. It was announced, but it was still still in the beta phases. And every time this guy said, "Well, .NET doing this better," and everyone's like, "Oh, no way, boom." That was a fun session to be at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been a very rewarding career. The best thing is you're helping out people. You're helping developers learn new tools, do things faster, better, really improve their careers, get them moving along. I can tell you how many little vignettes I got of someone that attended one of our sessions, and then, they got a job in programming, and then they got another job, and they got a raise, and then they're like doubling their salary in a few years, and it was all good. It was really, really good. And a great feeling. So, that saying, what goes around comes around. That's it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's why I do what I do, right? Is to give back, right? Because most of us, especially once you're a little bit older, you were able to do that because other people set that stage for it, and my way of giving back, doing all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know what it's like running Code PaLOusa. That is great conference.
Thank you.
So, what's the status on that this year? Now, I think I saw we're pushing it out to maybe the fall.
Well, so it's still the same date. So August 19th through 21st.
It is okay.
It's just gonna be virtual, right? So it's 100% virtual. It's funny because we went through as to what to do with it at several stages of denial, right? Because
I can imagine.
Because March and going into April was a really weird time. Because I remember first, this is supposed to be done with. We're not going to have to worry about this. And then it's like, well, maybe not so. Maybe we need to do hybrid. And within 4 weeks, we went through. We're definitely going to be in person. There's no way we're going to be in person. We're going to, it's going to have to be all virtual. Which is, I think it's going to be interesting. Part of the reason why I made that dedication to be virtual was I saw so many other conferences saying, well, we're just not going to happen this year. And I really wanted an event, especially this is our 10th year. And so, it's a little bit kind of weird, a little bit special, but, again, it's also really different because of everything going on. But we're doing our best to try to make it as much as a regular conference. Just you're going to be attending at your house instead of going into a conference center.
What are you going to do for the networking piece? I know the information dissemination is pretty good nowadays. You can really learn a lot from these events, but the piece I've continued to struggle with is the networking. It's not like being there in person. And
so we're going to use a platform called Hopin, or Hop2, or Hopin or Hop2. I'm drawing a blank the exact name of it. Something like one of those names. And that's one of the things they have is they have a couple of different ways of doing the networking piece. One piece, which is straight networking, which is kind of like a speed dating type thing. So you just randomly get matched with people, and you're in there for like 3 minutes, right? And and basically, if you like that connection, the two people can share their information. But it's only if both people want to share, protections on that. So we'll have that, which again, I'll be curious to see how much it gets used with a bunch of introverts.
Well, it's kind of like sitting down at a table during lunch with no one at one of these conferences.
Well, the way how I've experienced it's like sitting down at lunch or bumping into people, while you're walking from one session to another. Right? Yeah. You got a couple minutes in between, you spark up that conversation. So we'll have that. The other thing we're going to be able to do open space rooms. So basically, attendees can actually create sessions on the fly. Great. And we're going to be monitoring that for obvious reasons. Other than that, so it's going to work just like a regular open space. Other than instead of writing your session on a piece of paper, right? You'll fill out in the application, and So I think between those two things, I think that's going to help a whole lot. Unfortunately, the one thing it doesn't do is I can't have like everyone participate in video all together, because that would have been really nice. Because I talk about the hard part about presenting virtually is you don't see everyone. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like at my user groups, I always tell we do them. Most of them are done on Zoom, and I always tell everyone, turn your camera on, right? Because it really does help the speaker just seeing you. Yeah. So hopping, I can only have up to 10 people on camera at the same time. Okay. So that's the one limitation with it. I can have 10,000 people in the room, but I can only have 10 people on a camera.
And how about breaking up into smaller rooms from the main room?
So we'll have the main room, and then we're going to have 12 rooms. We'll have 12 rooms going on at a time.
Oh, okay.
Code PaLOusa has always been about having lots of sessions going on at the same time. We kind of make it hard on you to figure out what session you want to attend, because there's usually so many sessions you want to attend. The one benefit of going online is everything's going to be recorded. And I don't have to deal with cameramen or anything. It's just automatic, right? So it's going to get recorded. Yeah. And, so part of your ticket, and I still got to get this all built out, but we'll have a video archive So you'll be able to log in and watch other sessions you weren't able to attend during that. Or because we know what's going to happen, you're going to take the time off for Code PaLOusa, but your work's going to know, well, you're actually just sitting in your house, so they're going to bug you and you're going to work, but you'll still be able to catch up on those sessions afterwards, which would be great.
Yeah, I went to one conference, and it was like a virtual 3D conference, which was pretty cool. I think it was built with Unity 3D, and I actually did booth duty at that. So I had people coming up to the booth in this virtual like 3D kind of world, and struck up a few conversations there. So I don't know if you got something like that in the works, but boy. That's where I do a lot of networking too. Is a lot of times I'm a sponsor, at these events. Like right now, I work for Algorand, doing a lot of blockchain stuff.
Right.
And we're looking to always participate in events like this, and something like that where, the vendor would have a dedicated like meeting place. Anybody that's interested in blockchain or whatever, stop on over and we'll talk to you. Something like that would be cool.
And sure enough, we although we do not have very many sponsors yet. But and I'm not expecting a whole lot of sponsors for Code PaLOusa this year just because of everything going on. But we actually you can have video interactions with the sponsors, and it's all it's not like you have to have it pre-planned. Obviously, if the sponsor's not at manning the desk at that time, then it won't be available. But other than that, you like I say, you will be able to actually have interactions. So people will be able to, just like you normally do, come up to a table and start talking to someone. Sure enough, you're getting a comment on the in the chat of come meet with Russ. You need that for a banner. So not sure if do you remember Sean Weitzel? You met him at DevUp last year.
Oh, yeah, Sean. Yep. I remember Sean. Yep.
Yeah, he's been really excited about this interview because he was talking about how he met you and at that from Tulsa.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So I'm curious. How did you get your start in technology?
How did I describe it?
How did you get your start in technology?
I'll get my start. Yeah, Fortran class in high school, senior year. We had card punches then too. Yep. Card punch readers. And I just knew that's what I wanted to do, was become a programmer, right out of high school. And so then I got my computer science degree, and then lots of coding jobs. And then like I said, about at some point through, I saw this guy up on stage doing a session on VB script at an expo, and I'm going, gee, I think I'd like to try to do something like that, And then after that, then I started doing like teaching like VB.net, I think it was, at a Clark Computer Career Institute, and it was a very gratifying feeling. I really enjoyed it. So that's what I continue to do. And so I've had roles now with, Microsoft, the Component One, doing like a third-party control type solution, and some video stuff I did along the way, and Russ Cam. I
would say I remember Russ Cam well.
And then now I've really got a fantastic job at Algorand as a developer advocate there, and that's all about blockchain. And there's so many good uses for blockchain out there. For those people that are listening in and are not familiar with it, it's basically an immutable ledger, and so it's a read-only distributed database. Everybody's got a copy of it, and it's a write once. So every time a block or a new record is created on the database, it has transactions that are associated with it. So it's very clean. It's very simple in terms of what it's doing, and it's very secure. You can easily detect if anybody's been tampering with any of the data along the way. And I had to think this week, when I heard, even with the COVID-19 stuff going on and how they want to change the data center from one branch to another in the government here in the U.S. Because they want to see it first. It's like, well, gee, why don't we just, put it on a blockchain and you put your security in, for authentication or whatever. But both of the organizations can see it at the same time,
Right.
and it takes the fear out of the data being tampered with. So I mean, to me, that's like an ideal scenario for something like that. So I think a lot of people are coming around on that.
Yeah. So sure enough, because I think most people are new to blockchain, right? I mean, we've all heard about it for years now, but I mean, what would be your recommendation is to get started? I mean, how should someone get started with blockchain?
Well, I think we have a ton of content at developer.algorand.org that I've helped create. We have a DevRel team of about 4 or 5 people, and all sorts of tutorials and videos and solutions and articles, all now in our really ramped up developer portal, basically. And so there's a lot of getting started type things there. In fact, we have a 3-step getting started guide of setting up your workspace and starting up a node and then doing your first transaction, and it's pretty nice. 1, 2, 3, and then you're up and running and you got yourself an app that talks to blockchain. And I think really you want to start reading up on, blockchain in general. It's not just about cryptocurrency. Some of it is about creating assets or tokens or your own coins if you wanted to, or say you got a game and you want to reward game players with tokens in the game. You can create those. They're called assets on the blockchain, and they have the same security and the same benefits that cryptocurrency does on the blockchain. So it's really well thought out, and things like doing atomic transfers between multiple parties and round robin or whatever, that's all capable of doing. And then of course we got the smart contracts to add a little bit of logic, to signing off on different transactions. So it's really quite interesting, and I'm very excited about it. I think there's a lot of potential for developers that might be listening in. If you're thinking of how to maybe retool if you got a little downtime from this COVID-19. Definitely an area to look into. I know that's always a concern, no matter what developer audience I've been talking to over the years. Listen, Russ, I don't want to get stuck with a white elephant technology, right? And that's a big fear a lot of developers have, of putting all this time and effort into something for a year or two, and then boom, it goes away.
Yeah.
It's happened a lot to a lot of people on different, Silverlight, whatever. There's a lot of examples there that we could draw from that have gone that way. But
you're trying to pour some salt in some people's wounds, aren't you? Mentioning Silverlight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was a real surprise, when that happened. But you look back on it, I think it kind of makes sense, right? You don't want to plug in doing that kind of stuff. You want to run it naturally. So, in any event, that's the idea. And this is a great, technology that is here to stay. It's really just going to get bigger and better. We have stable coins now, for example, on our blockchain, Tether, and there's a few others now too. But they created it that same way that I just talked about. They created their own asset. But the difference is now that stablecoin is backed by USD, so it's not as volatile as a native cryptocurrency would be. So these things are being thought out and they're being addressed, and it's really going forward. And there's a lot of folks that are, really looking into, world chess is on our blockchain, and a lot of different use cases, and we have them all documented up on our foundation site, algorand.foundation/use cases, I think it is. And, a lot of good stuff. And we got a lot of developer reward programs too, which is really good. So if you have an idea, you want to get a grant for it, we've got programs for that. We've got, if you want to help out with, doing community SDKs, that you can get paid for doing that. You can get rewards, right, for helping out there. So
cool.
A lot of incentive, at least with Algorand, to really attract the developers and masses. We support 4 SDKs ourselves: Java, JavaScript, Go, and Python. really amazing how Python is taking off, huh?
Oh
Man,
yeah.
man, it's like I looked at the last Stack Overflow survey, and it's like going right up,
Mm-hmm.
man. It's unbelievable. Leaving all the other languages still, but I could see why, because now that I've been working in all those 4 languages, Python is always the leanest and meanest way and quickest way of getting something done.
Yep.
It really, it reminds me of like Visual Basic, right? The old VB days. That's how easy it is, right, to do that. And so then we also have a .NET SDK that's a community SDK. We are looking for people to upgrade that a little bit. So any listeners come in, drop me a note, and we'll see if we can hook you up on that GitHub repository. And I think there's a few more SDKs in the works by the community as well out there on Rust and Dart. I think might be another one. So
cool.
Life is good.
I would say, I maybe about 6 months ago, I was actually attending a Microsoft MVP talk where they were. So I can't talk much about what I heard during that, but I can tell you Microsoft was getting ready to really go into big time into blockchain. I haven't heard much since then, which it might have got affected by the pandemic, but because I do know that they're looking to do some really cool stuff here soon with it. The coolest part was, and I even mentioned this during it, I mean, the guy started off with an introduction to blockchain. It was like the best introduction I've ever heard. And unfortunately, I can't repeat it because it's all NDA, but it was a really good introduction to it because. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts? I mean, I think part of the problem the blockchain has is everyone quickly associated with Bitcoin. And because you even said it's not just for cryptocurrency, but everyone's associated with Bitcoin because obviously that's what got it to be what it is. So I think a lot of people, and again, I'm curious what your thoughts are. Think automatically, well, I'm not doing currency, so why am I worried about it?
Yeah, and that was my point. It's not all about cryptocurrency. I mean, let's face it, blockchain technology from Bitcoin's over 10 years old, right? So anything technology over 10 years old generally has room to improve, right? And, they use a lot of equipment, for example, to create blocks. They have all this, what they call mining, right? So they call expensive computer equipment. It's not green at all. It takes 10 minutes to create a block. Really not conducive to point-to-point sale, and with our blockchain, we use a verifiable random function, or in other words, statistics. It's a statistically sound sample of participants, which are, all you got to do is hold algos, and you'll be a participant and be, have the possibility of being selected to do the voting on a new block on the blockchain. Well, we do that in under 5 seconds. So that's a huge difference, right? 5 seconds versus 10 minutes. And now you can start seeing a lot of folks, any financial company, that wants this instant transaction finality, blockchain is now a viable solution to do that. And, I'm pretty excited about the whole crew over at Algorand as well. Our CEO is Silvio McCauley. He's a Turing Award winner for his work in hashing algorithms, and the whole staff is, reminds me of the first few years I was at Microsoft, where, we were just building something new. We were building a developer community, and we were, really grassroots, and everybody was excited and really, gun ho, and it really does remind me of that whole time period. And They say history repeats itself, so maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So I'm curious. I mean, other than the misconception with currency stuff, I mean, what do you find is the biggest, outside of that, the biggest misconception about blockchain?
Yeah, I think that's it. Really, it's just it's the Bitcoin and all of the bad news that has happened with that, and how it's been misused over the years in terms of it seems like anytime there's a ransomware attack, they want it in Bitcoin, right, or something like that. And but you got to remember, these ransomware attacks we're seeing are pretty much happening daily. They're happening on centralized data stores. And look what happened with Twitter, right? I mean, you can go on and on about these data hacks and ransomware attacks. But the problem is that it's centralized and it's under lock and key, and somebody is going to get that key somewhere somehow to get into that data. So if you can't beat them, join them, right? Make it on a public blockchain, create your own authentication if you want. And you really can put any type of application on a blockchain, whether it's pure, public or whether it's private. You still can do that with having basically a public blockchain at layer 1. And then with layer 2 would be like an application that you write on top of that to do everything else. So
cool. So let's go back to talking about you. I mean, so you've been a developer evangelist of some form since '97, which is, I mean, that's a pretty good career just in that. But do you have any advice for folks who are interested in being an evangelist?
Well, yeah, I think it's a good skill set to have to be able to walk and talk at the same time. And I think if you got that skill set, really, there now are evangelism roles in a lot of different verticals. And I'm going to let everybody into the secret here that's listening to this. An advocate role or evangelist role is really a pre-sales type position. All right. It's technical, no doubt, but it really does. The purpose of it is to really I go out there and sprinkle that magic dust and then let it grow. And then the sales team will come in and pick it up, or in our case, we're trying to engage developers, right, to build solutions on our blockchain. And anybody that's got like an API they're trying to sell or something like that, that's always, you want to target the developer audience to do that. So I would say getting engaged in as many of these meetups as you can, I think would be really good, because then you start doing the networking, and that's very, very important. Again, boy, I don't know how we're going to really get to having some good networking on, online.
Right.
I think somebody that figures that piece out is going to make a lot of money, because that is really the thing I see that really needs some thought process given to on the networking piece, because it's not just the technology.
Thank you for following. Welcome to Tail Learn
It
Code.
is definitely a networking component when you're going to, Code PaLOusa, right? Or you're going to any one of these events. It's an amazing feeling, and after a while, it feels like it's a homecoming, type of event where you go up and everybody that you've known for years, or that are out there. So I think it's one of those things where you want to really just engage as much as you can, learn as much as you can about a particular technology, and then help people. And that's the best part. You're going to be helping people. So if that's something you like doing, that's a really good discipline to start looking at and building up your skill set in that area.
Well, I will say that,
too.
I will say that, you mentioned the the networking piece, and I'll say this, I can't say who, and I can't say what they're doing, but what I can say is I happen to know of someone who's working on something that's pretty darn cool. And I've seen some early previews of it, and
nice.
Yeah, it's and I will say this: it's someone who is known in the community, right? So when they come out and say, "Hey, I've got this new tool. I hear it's pretty cool," you're going to know about it pretty quickly, because it's someone pretty well known. I've been helping them test a little bit, and it's been pretty neat to see what they're doing.
Really? Okay.
I mean, in the end, there's really no way to replace, in-person interactions. It's just not the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Number one, because the brain knows it's not the same thing, right? That's the hard part about sitting in front of a computer all day, on Zoom calls or what have you. It's just not the same thing. But like I say, I know someone who's got something pretty cool coming up. It's pretty neat what they're doing.
That's great. That's great. I can't wait.
So another interesting thing about you, I gotta admit, I did not know this until I saw this today. But so you're you got the Lifetime Achievement Award from Mineta. That's pretty darn cool. So for those who don't know, well, I'll let you explain. For those who don't know, what, because Ineta's been gone for a while now. I mean, what was Ineta?
Yeah, the International .NET Association. So they were really responsible for really growing a lot of user groups across the entire country and the planet, really. And it was, heavily funded by Microsoft at first, and then it kind of took on its own life, and different funding came from different places. So it was a great organization, a lot of content. They had like a speaker bureau kind of system. So if you did have a user group, you can tap into that resource and get yourself some good speakers at your event. That was really cool. It was really nice setup that they had. And I got that award for Lifetime Achievement Award for, I think, helping educate over 1 million developers in my career is what I got that for. So
that's really cool.
It's really nice when you get recognized by your peers. That was just such a nice award. So really enjoy that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, that was really neat to see that. And again, having known you as long as I've known you, I mean, not surprising, right? Because you have been involved for so long. And you mentioned a couple of times. I mean, you had Russ Toolshed, you had the Russ Cam, which I gotta admit, I was on Russ Cam at one point, but I can't find that video now.
We'll have to go out to the One YouTube channel. It's in one of the playlists.
I was looking for it today, so I was gonna have it ready, but I couldn't find it, right? Because I remember you had me be really excited talking about Code PaLOusa. You're like, be really excited to talk for like 20 seconds about Code PaLOusa, which isn't natural for me. But but I remember that was a lot of fun because obviously that's when you were at Code PaLOusa. But or at least I don't know if you've been. I think you've only been to Code PaLOusa once, if I remember right. I can't remember. But that was really cool. So. So Sean's saying maybe we should talk to Benko for stories about you.
Oh, Benko, yeah. Benko tips. Yeah, Mike's a great guy. Yep. That was a good team we had. It was a really I think that was evangelism. I think at its best was the Microsoft Across America team when we would have our presentations in theaters, real theaters. I had my code up on the big screen behind me, man. That was like a dream come true. Like I was a kid in a candy store, Oh, yeah. That was great. And we would get 200, 300, 400, 500 people, in those sessions. And also evolved out of that was a pilot episode that I started, which was the Code Room. And so that was like a PBS affiliate. I think we got like 500,000 views on that or something like that. It was crazy. But the idea was you do a session. And then you teach certain topics right in the session. And then after the session's over, this is like at one of the movie theater sessions or movie theater shows, you take a couple people from the audience and then we go to a different site and they got to build something on the technology that we talked about in the event. And the drama part of it was no electricity. You had to do it on the battery laptop, all right? and the battery on your laptop, and if that went out, then you're dead. You're done. So they had a little suspense there to do it quickly.
I gotta admit, one of the best situations I've seen was I'm sure Jeff Blackenberg out of Ohio.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is when he was an evangelist for Microsoft and doing one of those tours, right? And he was in Louisville. And I forget the exact topic, but it was definitely a day for developers. And this one guy up front, all he could ask was all day long asking questions about, well, why can't Windows do this? Why can't Windows do that? And of course, poor Jeff he was trying to get all his knowledge out, right? But he did an awesome job of actually, still answering those guys' questions, but also getting him to quiet down so he could actually get to his content, right? That was a fun day. I remember that well. I have to next time I see Jeff, I'll have to see if he remembers that day. But because I remember giving him a hard time that night, afterwards.
Nice.
But well, cool. So I'm curious, anything outside of blockchain you've been looking at that's really been in your interest?
Besides blockchain,
Yeah.
I think I still like building apps quite a bit. I'm actually doing a new release for the Jethro Tull app for my own company.
I was about to mention that you do the app for Jethro Tull. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Jethro Tull endorsed. So it's always good. I built that with Xamarin, and it's fun. It's fun to do that type of stuff. It's just and I really can't wait to get this release out. We got a lot of new features in it, and so I basically rebuilt it from the ground up. So it'll be a new app, coming out.
Cool. So how are you building that?
It's through like Xamarin Forms, actually specifically is what I'm using to do it, and a lot of XAML, a lot of data sources, in the app for like the tour feed, and then also we have the richest discography in the world for Jethro Tull in the app, over 70 albums. They don't even have that many on their own website.
Right.
And we dug them all up, and we got all the covers in there, all the back covers, all the sleeves, a lot of links to like old concerts, or past band members, and everything a Jethro Tull fan would want.
Right.
Like we got it in one place, as well as all the videos, from YouTube, all the official videos, and then fan videos as well. So it's a cool app. It's really been a very great experience. I think we did the first version back in 2015, and been doing incremental, changes, and the management over at Tull loves us. And in fact, the last time we saw Ian Anderson play down here in St. Pete, Florida, we got the backstage pass, from the tour agent, and so we were in the back there. I was with my two brothers, Rich and Gary, and Ian Anderson comes in and he goes, the Fustino brothers. He goes, it sounds like an Italian restaurant. He goes, so, I thought that was pretty. He's such a down-to-earth guy, and so nice, and hard worker, and genius, in terms of the music field. So it was really, really an honor to be spending some time with him there after the show.
That's cool.
Like, oh, you want to see the new version of the app? Yeah, let me see it. So I had whipped out my iPad right there, and I showed it to him right on the spot. So it was pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah.
All right, so now comes my little surprise. So my question for you. So I haven't eaten dinner yet. So
Okay.
I'm curious what I should eat. So here's my choices. All right. Should I have little hot dogs, special potatoes, or a pot of sauce?
What was the one in the middle? What kind of potatoes?
Special potatoes.
Special. Yeah. Special potatoes. You got it right. From .NET Gurus.
Yeah, here you go.
How does this guy know about special potatoes? That's right. I forgot about that. There it is. Right there. That's it. It's funny because I just made a pot of sauce this past weekend, and using that recipe in there, and that's always seems to be the biggest favorite, I think. But the special potatoes are a close second, because you can make those any meal of the day. You can make them for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Right.
And so that's a good thing there. With that's got the you start out with the onions, melt them down in the frying pan, and then you add the potatoes in and sliced up. I leave the skins on now too to get some fiber, and then also then you start adding in your meat. The ham, the hot dogs, or the bologna, or whatever you got in the house, basically, and then little mushrooms and cheese on it at the end with eggs, and boy, it is delicious. That's a good dish.
No, sure enough. So for everyone on the stream, so I've had this book for a long time. I've actually cooked a couple things from it. That was a really neat, swag, to give away, right? I mean, sure enough, if you went to the Kimono one, but I can't remember if you had to win it, or if I don't remember. I don't remember if you were just handing out to people who showed up at the booth, or to do something. I don't remember that, but I mean that's a pretty neat little thing. And sure enough, it's from it's from .NET Gurus, right? That was the whole idea. So let's see here. If we look at the list of authors here, Sam Basu, who he's a Code PaLOUsa speaker. Bankovich is on here. Michael Crumpt, actually. I'll be seeing Michael tomorrow night. He's speaking to my user group. Who else we got in here? Dino Espino. There's a name I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
But Russ is in here. David Giard, Scott Goo. You've got the Goo. Although I love Scott's contribution. Mac and cheese.
The mac and cheese. Crap.
I was flipping through this book today, and I forgot that the Goo was in there, and then he's got mac and cheese. And that
was great.
It's open up the box of Kraft mac and cheese.
Well, one of the parts of a evangelist role is engaging influencers, right? Mm-hmm. And they're really become an extension of your evangelism team. And this was another tool to do just that. I mean, look at all these great people that you just listed off that were all really influencers. And guess what? Steve Ballmer was talking about, component one, in Microsoft, so mission accomplished there. So I think that is a great idea. I really, many times I've thought to myself, I want to do another one of those sometime. Mm-hmm. So who knows? Maybe I'll talk to Algorand and see if we can get one of another book going.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. That's a lot of work. Don Williamson was the one that organized that over at Component One. And the guy loves to cook. And it was fun making the videos, too. We did a lot of videos afterwards of cooking things from the book. And one particular one I remember was pizza on the grill. That was so good. Mm-hmm. It was with not Carl Franklin, Richard Campbell. That was his recipe, and I've never had pizza that tasted so good. It was really good.
Of course, the great part about Richard, if you ask him about it, you'll get the complete history of the pizza, and to great detail, right?
It reminds me of Norm on Cheers,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love talking to Richard because he just knows so much. It's just,
fascinating.
There's just so much in that head.
Yeah, what a fascinating individual. Mm-hmm. He's real gold. He's great. And you like my shirt I got on, by the way?
Yeah, I
would say the Godfather.
The Godfather. I was noticing that.
Grandfather on there.
Oh, the grand. I did not even notice that.
A little closer. There you go.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I got that for me one year for president. It was really good.
How many grandchildren do you have?
3.
Awesome.
Yeah. They're out in Iowa. I'm dying because I want to go see them, but you can't because of this COVID-19 stuff. Yeah. So I put it off till later. We're doing more, FaceTime and Skype, with them. So that's good too. It's always fun.
Yeah. So I mean, talk about being in Florida. I mean, you're right there in the middle of everything right now. I mean, how's that been?
Yeah, these numbers are just growing really scary, and I've been just pretty much self-quarantining over here, really. I'm even getting my groceries delivered now with that Instacart, it's called, a good app. And so I get them delivered from Aldi and Publix, and I don't have to go anywhere. And actually, it saves a lot of time. It's like, why haven't I done this before? So, and you know what? You're not tempted to, grab something off the shelf that you really don't need either. You got your list, you do it, and then maybe I'll be eating healthier too, as a result of that. So, yeah.
I gotta admit, that's the first time I've heard. Well, I can eat healthier because I have to, I can't binge shop, right? It's it's a good point.
Yeah.
So, what do you like to do for fun?
I still like photography quite a bit. I'll go down to, I've got a private beach club that does give me a little bit of relief from the,
that's good.
Gives me my sanity. And, it's very sparse, there's not a whole lot of people there, and you have your own little hut and shared, no one's around you. So it's really nice. And it's right on the Gulf of Mexico. And so get gorgeous sunsets there. And so I like taking, photos of the sunsets. And then I'm dating a girl now too that's up in New York. I went to high school with her. Met her at the reunion last year after I haven't seen her for 40 years.
Oh, good.
We hit it off really good. So now we have date night every Friday night with FaceTime, and we watch a Netflix movie or something like that. So that awesome. I look forward to as well. Yeah, that's
I'm glad to hear that for you. That's really neat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, with that, I mean, any closing thoughts you have?
Well, I just, who you got? Who you been interviewing on this? Like a lot of the people that normally speak over there at your conference, or?
Yeah. So here, let me pull up my list because I will forget someone if I don't pull up my list here. But we've been having a lot of fun doing these, and it was. So I just started doing this Twitch thing back 1st of May, and I've also been doing coding. I've been talking about doing this for a year, and I finally got around to doing it. And then I'm like, well, here's a great way to get content and promote the conference, right? So I mean, so we've done Kevin Griffin up in Maryland.
Oh yeah, sure.
So Sean Weitzel down in Tulsa. Mike Umsen in Cincinnati. G. Andrew Guffey. I mean.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Joel Lord. I don't know if you ever met Joel Lord up in Canada.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean he gets around. I'm pretty sure he was at South Florida this year. I believe I believe I saw him there. Let's see here. Some Chris Woody. I can't even think of saying his name right. Chris Woodruff, right? Better known as Woody. Sam Basu, Phil Japisky, Matthew Groves, Mitchell Sellers, and then like tomorrow I'll be doing Allison Hawk, who's a QA person up in St. Louis. She's really interesting. Some other names you probably know: Jamie Wright up in Michigan, or not Michigan, Toledo, Ohio. Guy Royce. Of him in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So, like I said, these have been a lot of fun, and sure enough, I'm gonna. Yes, I mean this is all the prep for Code PaLOusa, but we're gonna keep doing these after Code PaLOusa. So not just Code PaLOusa speakers, and not like every couple days, but like I don't know if once a week or once or twice a month. We're gonna keep on doing these because I've been having a lot of fun doing them. And again, I think it really helps people get to know a lot more. A lot of people. It helps. I mean, again, running conferences and speaking for over a decade now. I've got to meet a lot of great people, and this is my way of sharing these people I've got to meet over the years. With other people.
That's cool. Very cool. I know I'm going to be doing we normally have our class reunion every first Friday in August every year from high school. And this year we are going to do it on Zoom. Mm-hmm. And so I've been in charge of that project. So, I'm going to do it the same way. We get everybody together in the room at first, and then we'll randomize people into smaller rooms so they can converse a little bit, and then swap it every 10 or 15 minutes. And we'll have icebreakers ready in all the rooms, for keeping the discussion going. And we're actually going to do a dry run of it tomorrow night, and then the following Friday will be the actual reunion. So it should be fun. They got stuff like that.
I spoke at a user group last week, and that's how they started it. Right, everyone joined Zoom, but then they randomized and broke it into groups of like 2 or 3 people, right? 3 or 4 people, I guess. And just start a conversation, which I really enjoyed. That it was actually a lot of fun. Especially what I really enjoyed because it was it's a group that's meant for people who are new in technology, and I was speaking on a panel of hiring managers, right? So I was I had 3 other people in that little breakout room I was in. All 3 of them are brand new to technology. They're learning to code right now. So I had a blast just talking to them for a couple of minutes. That was a lot of fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, awesome. Keep it up, man. You're doing a good job. This is fun.
Yeah, I like it. Definitely. Like I said, I've been looking forward to being able to talk to you again. It's like I said, I always enjoy when I see you. Usually I see you at CodeMash at the very least, and then at least once, twice a year I get to see you, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. I feel the same way. It's always good seeing you, man, all the time.
Well, I really appreciate you joining me tonight, and even more that you'll be speaking to Code PaLOusa again this year. I wish you were able to come to town, right? But hopefully next time you'll be able to come to town. But,
You got that right. And I like your idea about the breakout rooms, or the, what did you call them? Like you just do a topic on the fly.
Oh, the open space.
Yeah, the open space rooms, because that's a good way for getting new technology talks. Sometimes you got to put your abstract together, months ahead of time for a lot of conferences.
Exactly.
And things change and new stuff comes out, and people want to hear about it. And that's a great way of handling that, is with the open spaces. So that's cool.
No, I spent a lot of time in open spaces at conferences, so I was happy to see that we're going to have a way to do this. With still being online.
Cool.
So, well, great. Well, like I said, it's been great talking to you, and I really do appreciate it.
All right, you take care.
All right, see you, Russ.
Thanks a lot, Chad. Bye-bye.